Returning to compassion model. The 5-minute version. How do you notice interpersonal changes? Let's look at relationship polarities. At the very extremes, we have 4 different ones: the villain, the victim, the vicar, and the victor. And these come from a place of survival mindset. So we have fight and fleeing or flight, and then we have fix and freezing. These all come from a place originally in the very center of feeling. We expand and collapse. And so in that expansion and collapsing, we might feel frustration, irritation, concern, and numbness. And those go out to those polarity directions if we really believe that we are disconnected from those around us. And they're all coming from a feeling of fear that we're not naming or understanding is really just a feeling of needing to survive. When they lock in, we're going to expand even farther and go from frustration to anger, and from irritation into sadness, and from concern into worry, and from numbness into guilt. Once these lock in and they're looping like infinity cycles back and forth, we're going to go to the next cycle, which is the most extreme: rage and terror for the villain and victim. For the victor and vicar, we have judgment and shame. And this all comes from black and white thinking. On the full version, you can see and reference these different pieces much more intensively. So we make decisions from black and white thinking. We choose that the villain is wrong and the victim is right. We label the victor as good, or a hero is good, and the vicar is bad, that bystander. And what's happening here is we are acknowledging that the villain feels powerful, the victim feels powerless, the victor feels helpful, and the vicar feels helpless. And so we have these reactions from those places of powerful. So the villain will rebel and recruit, the victim will reach and retreat, the vicar will restrict and rescue, or that's the victor, and the vicar will resent and recoil. And they each have relationships with each other. So the villain and victim feel a sense of defending and deflecting. The victor and vicar have a sense of despairing and despising. Each one of these roles has a sense of destiny to them. And there's pictures and illustrations to see in the bigger version. So let's look at the roles in a new mindset, which is returning to compassion. We find our compass when we feel disoriented. And so in the compass, there's alternate axes. The alternate axes of choosing the feelings as human beings to trust and give, and then choosing the feelings as human beings of opening to curiosity by maybe asking the question, what am I missing? To refresh our memory for this villain or the modern day bully, there's anger, exploding, frustration, and they get the new role of the challenger, which means we have to find and bring a change about in small bite-sized steps. And so they do that by returning to trusting and opening to curiosity and giving. The target, or the victim, feeling irritation, sadness, and implosion, gets to remember their new role as the creator, which is like a flower. And they can get picked on, but they always come back with diversity and new creativity. The hero, feeling the judgment, the helpfulness, the fixing, gets to become the coach. The coach is like the butterfly, and they got to remember the butterfly effect, and they also don't have to fix anything anymore. They just follow diversity, they follow their heart, and that is a contribution through trusting and curiosity. And finally, the bystander, or the vicar, gets to become the connector, like roots. The connector holds the ground while we all find our heart through witnessing through many causes us to find connection in our humanity. And when we balance these emotional states of trust and curiosity, we come to a place of gratitude. So, the way that I remember this as the creator and originator of this model is, instead of being the change I wish to see in the world, I work to see the change I wish to be in the world. And as I do this, I always see abundance instead of scarcity. Thank you.